Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's resume our complete beginner's guide to Songs of Syx, shall we? Well, we've been given a job to build some roads, and in following this, the tutorial guide says, "Goodbye. Excellent. At this stage, you know more than I do. Just continue to improve your settlement, build some farms, forage if you must for the initial seeds. I will do my best to follow your instructions. Together, we will see a new Cretonia." So this is what I really like about the built-in tutorial to the game, is that it kind of guides you through this first wave, the easiest, most basic stuff to set up, and then it just lets you go. And now it's sandbox. So now we can really talk about all sorts of things that we need to do within the game. But first, let's build roads. So to build roads, you go to the construction button in the bottom center of the heads-up display. It's the fourth from the right, and you'll see roads right here. Now, when you build roads, we're going to default to dirt roads, and this is what they ask you to build for the tutorial, but there's a few things I want to show you. Number one, when you mouse over dirt road, you can see the fulfillment bonuses for each race. So the Cretonians get 50% fulfillment from dirt roads, which is good. Now, they would prefer, like, if we wanted to build cobblestone is 80%, forest plaza is 100% for Cretonians. They love it, but it requires a technology of fancy roads, which means we're going to need to start researching, which we haven't even seen that yet. That's a later step. So right now we can build dirt roads. Now, the great thing about a dirt road, if you read the tooltip here, is that it's an unpaved and rudimentary road that increases movement speed slightly, costs a lot of labor to upkeep, but requires no resources to construct. So it doesn't take anything to build it. You just kind of have to clear the road. And then the janitors are actually who maintain your roads. So that's another reason why you really want to have janitors to maintain your roads. Now, again, and I'll show you this in a moment, when you're building certain things, an overlay will pop up on your screen. And this overlay is the traffic. So this is showing you the footpath traffic, and again, light blue is the higher intensity. This is where people are walking. And this is generally where you want to put your roads, wherever people are going. So when they're on the road, they can use those to move faster, just get around faster. It also makes them happy to do it. So we're just going to select dirt road, and I'm going to pick all of these places that are adjacent immediately. Now, you don't have to build beyond it, but I'm going to just kind of, make a sensible path like this where there's a lot of traffic. Looks like there's some traffic out here as well. So let's just kind of make some traffic over to the farm. And then we can connect this road like this. I like to have lots of roads. This is just me. You certainly don't have to do this. Great. And this black area is where the road is being built. And I will right click, and now you can see the blue construction, and we'll just unpause it, and they're going to go do it. All right, so they've kind of started to build these roads over here, as you can see. And we're going to let them just continue to flesh those in for us. But currently, what I want to talk about would be, what do we want to do now? Yeah, we've got this road project, but the great thing about Songs of Syx is you can really plan ahead by blueprinting in a lot of structures so that you can kind of see how you want to build your town, how you want to organize it, and get projects going. And one of the projects we want to get is recruiting more people to live in our settlement so we can do more jobs more quickly. I'll unpause it while we do this. Now, we can only house 10 right now because our longhouse is full. And it's time to talk about immigration a bit. So in the beginning of the game, the way that we're going to get people to come and live here is through immigration. And over in this column, where we see Cretonians and Dondorians and such, The little yellow arrow at the upper left means there are people waiting who would move in here if we want. Now, currently we don't have a place for anybody except Crotonians to live, and no Crotonians want to move in. That's okay, because we need to do other things first before we get more people in here. But what you want to do before you let anyone in is, number one, make sure you have enough housing for them. But also, you want to look at, as we talked about, the kind of compatibility between the different groups. The reason why you'd want other folk from different species to live here is because everybody is good at different things. So Crotonians are really good at farming, for example, but they're not so good at some other jobs that we might want another specialist to take care of. However, there's always trade-offs for things. There's always pros and cons, and one of the cons would be people might not get along, different species might not get along, and we need to accommodate that. So if I click on Crotonians, right-click on them, and I look at their properties, I can see right here, some of their stats and what they're, reasonable at and such. But we would go back here. This is the best place to go for this, is to click that question mark so we could see, okay, who would, live well with Crotonians? And it's probably, Dondorians, humans, Talapis, Cantors we talked about. But even within that, what you want to do is see who not only do they get along with, but has overlapping preferences so that we can kind of synergize, like who perhaps likes square wooden buildings and who likes this type of food and such. But honestly, when you're first starting out, it's completely okay to just go with one population type at first and then slowly work in others. You really don't want to, my recommendation, if you're a new player, is to not have more than 2 or 3 different types of species, because it gets to be a lot to manage, like looking at all of the different synergies and the couplings and trying to figure that out. So I wouldn't even worry about that for now. And let's just try maybe later to get some other groups in here, because honestly, it's more dynamic and interesting than if you just play some kind of homogenous society that only has, one species type. It's more interesting if you're kind of balancing and working through the different likes and dislikes, but also benefiting from their strengths and weaknesses in the labor force. So anyway, they're building this road, and I'm going to click on just one random person here, and let's just talk about, like, okay, how you doing on fulfillment? And one of the things that we need for our fulfillment, the housing is good. They don't like their furniture. We're not going to give them furniture yet, but we can't give them furniture because we don't even have any furniture. So let's talk about what other structures we can build. So first of all, if I were to go over here into service, and one of the things I always like to do is just look at what's even available. So I'm going to pause the game so I can go through this. We don't need a temple right now, that's fine, but Krator is obviously the deity that works for us. And again, you could see this would be something that would divide different groups of people, would be like a holy war. But here are a few things we need. Under distribution, we certainly want to have a food stall. So at a food stall, what happens is all of the food that you've produced goes to the food stall, and that's where your people will come to get it when they want to eat. And this will help satisfy their need for diet, and they enjoy getting stuff from the food stall better. Like in an emergency, yeah, they'll just go into the warehouse to eat, but I don't think they enjoy that as much as the food stall. So like, for example, if you mouse over this, you could see that it gives fulfillment of 3 upward green arrows to Kratorians to have a food stall. So they like having this. The warehouse doesn't like necessarily hurt them, but it doesn't help. So this really fulfills them. So the food stall, it says, will collect edible resources and make basic meals out of them for your citizens. So this elevates the food to make it better. And they'll get a chance to pick what they want and improve their food preference. So you want to build your food stalls relatively close to a food-fulfilled warehouse as possible for it to work well. This will just decrease travel time. And if you've never played one of these kind of building management games, it is very important where you place your structures because you want to minimize travel time between goods and production facilities. So this warehouse right here is a food distributing warehouse because we only have one warehouse. So we want to put our food stall, nearby this to make it easier to use. And actually, look at this. We do have some Gretonians that want to move in because you can see the arrow right here. So let's say that, I wanted to build another house. Well, I could just go down here and I could select to build a house in service house like we did before, but I can also just control left click to duplicate this structure. And then do I want to build another longhouse? That's the question. I'm okay with it. So I'm just going to show you, if you control left click, we duplicate this. Now, sometimes it's a little bit hard to see, but maybe it's easier to see over here where the door is. You can see the door on the bottom there. I'm going to rotate it so it's up like this. And we're just going to share this road right here. So now we're building another house to get some more people in. So that's planned in. Now, you see how we did this road, though? It's built. I'll tell you what. When you build stuff and queue up, they generally will go for the most recent thing that you've selected. So you don't want to queue up so much stuff because then they'll never get through your work. But this is okay for now. So I'm going to go ahead and build this. And then I'm going to go one more thing, which is to go to service, distribution, and go food stall. Now, food stall is interesting because it requires no walls. So you're just kind of like marking an area. So I'm going to mark this area right over here like this, and we'll make it 7 by 7. And then for now, it's going to take 10 wood to build this, but nothing's happening until we build stalls. So you need to build a stall to distribute the food. Now I'm going to push E and just put a stall. You know what? I'm going to actually rotate it and put them from this view so that they're columns. And I'm going to put one like this. It does take 5 stone, but as you can see, I have 80 stone and 227 wood, so that's just totally fine. And I'm going to build just 2 stalls right now. And this will take 0.75 employees, and it is going to make it so that there's a total number that can be served, and this is the estimate of how many subjects the room will be able to serve derived from property. So I could serve 10, and then the estimate goes up to 23 with only one person working at this station. So that's plenty for now. So I'm just going to click check, and I'm going to then speed the game up so we get this stuff done. All of these things need to be built. Now, luckily, I have a lot of odd jobbers, so they should start doing this immediately. We have plenty of wood. We have plenty of stone. And there they go. Now, notice they are still building the road. So they didn't completely abandon that, which is cool. And first of all, of course, what they're going to do is clear the area. So I'm just going to let it speed up. We are on day 2 of summer. Now, 4-day seasons makes things go so quickly in this game, but don't even worry. It's going to take several years for us to really even just set up a basic town structure, and that seems kind of crazy, but that's just how it is in this game. So don't worry if you're not really feeling like you've got enough built until like year 4 or something like that, because there's a lot of stuff we need to do. So they're throwing in the second house right here. And this is going to be a big house because I want more Crotonians moving in. Now, I can actually, if I want, recruit some people and allow immigrants in. Now, here's what you can do. You can, I believe if I were to double-click this, then I would just recruit all possible immigrants. Now, if I mouse over, you see there's only one immigrant. Right there, you see how it says immigrants 1. Now, if I click on this, right-click on this, though, to open up the Crotonian population, in this second column where it says population, right here, there's this big authorized button in the middle, and this means how many aspiring immigrants do you want to admit. Now, this would be like manual control. So if there were 10, you can adjust this slider over here and be like, I really only want 1. Or you can just automatically admit a certain number. I'm going to just say authorize right now from here and allow 1 person to come in. You really want to be careful not to admit too many, though, because you have to make sure you have enough food and places to live and services before you start admitting people, because you will go into a downward spiral of losing if you expand too quickly. The name of the game in any of these builders and management games, I'm going to kind of just put it on regular speed, is to be slow and steady and maintain an equilibrium so that like you are sure that you are balanced, that you have enough of a surplus, that you have enough of infrastructure to support before you just go crazy and admit a bunch of immigrants, because you don't want to sink your city. So it's better to be slow and steady. Okay. And we do have a starving person, which is not good, but this isn't really the case. This is just because I believe we have somebody new who hasn't gone to get food yet. And actually, you should be able to see the immigrant if they haven't arrived already. I did speed time up, but they come from the edge of the map. So you see these roads here. Let's see if we can find the new person that we have. So there's one person that is without a house. And let's see, are they on the other side over here? Well, we'll find them. But the other thing is, yeah, here we go. Okay. You always want to be careful about the edges of the map. Like, we had to start right here because this is where they put our throne room, but in general, you usually want to be like more in the center, because if people invade you, they're going to come from the edge. So they could surprise you. But that's okay. We'll let this go. Okay. So I'm going to speed it up. Roads coming in over here. So I'm going to let him play while I show you this, just as another demonstration. So this eyeball button over here is the overlays. And if you click on this, you can open this box and just get a whole bunch of different overlays that are useful. So remember I talked about noise? So you can look for noise. Nothing right now that we have is like super noisy, so we're good on that. But you can also look for maintenance, like what's, maintained and what's falling apart. Everything seems reasonable. Who's homeless? We can look for our homeless individual. Harmony. This is an important category. Later we'll talk about that. But basically this means people like harmony with nature, and Crotonians like harmony. We can look for groundwater, and, well, there's a bunch of water over there. Fertility, like we've looked at. Awe, deposits if you want to find stuff. Urbanization, salt water, resources, on and on and on. I'm just going to click that to get rid of it. So this is where you can go to find that. Take a screenshot. Here we go. Cinematic mode. Zoom in and out. Toggle the mini map. And mini panels. Okay, great. You can hide these, by the way, or shrink them if you want. I like to have it big like this. I like the UI at this default setting. All right, I'm going to speed it up. And stop. What day? It's day 3 of summer. All right. So, we talked about this. I want this grain up here. So, I'm going to go to forage. And I'm going to select all of this. Now, I don't know if my people are going to come here and try to get it, but this is the time to forage that grain. And also, it's the time to forage these fruit, rather, because we don't have any. There. And we could get some more veg, but I'm okay with what we've got right now. I'm just really focusing on the grain. All right, great. And I'm going to push Control A to go back to our settlement and zoom in. Now, another thing I have to say that would just remind you, or maybe help you frame this game, I'm really used to playing Dwarf Fortress. So in Dwarf Fortress, you don't build a huge settlement. Like 200 dwarves would be a settlement where I think, oh my god, this is enormous. In this game, you can get thousands. You know, you're making something much, much larger than a dwarf fort. It's pretty crazy. So I'm going to just let them go. And they're almost done with the road. You can see they're working on it. They're almost done with this house. And this is really coming together. And they're working on this. Great. Okay. So, they're still actually doing that. There it goes. Clearing it. And the house is built. So now, we no longer have any homeless. And actually, this is going to display our surplus. So this number, you could see -1 when you have a homeless person, and then we had 0 for the longest time when we reached, equanimity with housing everybody. But now we have a surplus of 9 houses. So you want to look up here on the ribbon before you recruit anybody, just to get a feel for like how much space do I have. We have 9, which is great. Okay, the food stall is done. I'm going to click on this immediately. And I only want 1 person working here for now. You can auto-employ this, but for now, I'm just going to keep it at 1. And I'm okay with, I'm not going to check anything on or off. I'm going to serve all of the regular food that we've got. That's fine. But you can click on this, and you could see, I believe the red area is the area that this is connected to, I think. But we'll see. Like who can get access to these? Now, right now it's red though, maybe because there's no food here. There you go. Okay, great. So you can see it filling up. I love the graphics in this game. You see how the food person is filling this up. And there they go. Okay. Wonderful. So now, I'm going to pause it because, well, what did we do? We finished the roads, and we built another house, and we built the food stalls. Now it's time to build some more stuff. I could build a market, and the market allows you to put furnishings or items available for people to come pick up. I think like clothing and furnishing. We're not yet making furniture. We'll get to that soon. But before that, I really want to build a laboratory, because this is a service that everybody loves. It'll really boost fulfillment to have a laboratory. We're going to want a speaker as well, and we're going to need a mass grave in case anybody dies. If one of your people dies, typically early game, it's from hunting. Then, like, there'll just be this corpse lying out, and it upsets everyone. And it's like they consider like it to be this kind of like unjustified death. But if you have a grave to bury them, then it's not as big of an issue. So we definitely want to do that. But first, let's just go here, and I'd like to build a laboratory actually, but we can't because it requires furniture, I believe, to finish. And that means that we're going to need a crafting station and to build our first carpenter hut. So we're going to make a facility that produces furniture, because most buildings from this point are going to take furniture as part of their interior demands to optimize them. And also furniture is used to upgrade buildings, like, for example, the warehouse. So if I click on the warehouse, let me just talk about this right here. Underneath the radius of the warehouse, there's this upgrade button, and you see how it has a picture of furniture with -20. It means if I upgrade this, it costs 20 furniture. And by upgrading it, you see how it says boost plus 220? That means each crate goes from holding 80 to holding 300, which is just such an enormous boost that we certainly want to do that. So we're going to go to crafting, and we're going to build a carpenter. And I'm going to not build a massive carpenter, but we want to build one. So you see how I have this road that's kind of coming out over here. We want to build the carpenter, but we do want to be careful because it's noisy, that it's not too close to where our people are. So I could just kind of, build this in such a fashion that it's here, but it would overlap and go through their door. So instead, what if I were to just kind of draw in a carpenter like so? And then I right click. Oops. Derp. I do that all the time. Right click. When you right click and you're trying to build, it cancels the last. I actually want to make it this big anyway. It cancels the last action you did in this process. It kind of is an undo. And you can actually get to it right here as well. But I don't want to undo. I need to go to storage. And we want to, well, here, let me go to the workbench first. Let's build a workbench. I'm going to rotate this. Okay. Workbench. And then efficiency is at 50%. So the workbench, if you mouse over it, it says where subjects work. So it boosts the amount of employees you can have in here, which boosts the production. But we don't want to go wild here. This is fine. And I'll put this over here. And now we're at 100%. And then storage is like when they finish it, you can put it in here instead of having it go right to the warehouse. But this is fine. I'm only going to build one of these. And I'll build it like this. And I'm going to put a door here and a door here. And then I'm going to say do it. Okay. And we're going to just let this go. Again, this is not a massive furniture workshop, but one of the times I've played the game, and started and stopped many times learning the beginning of the game, one of the things that I did was I started making massive buildings that could like scale up and hold a bunch. But you run into some issues with that. Number one, where you don't want to just kind of like I said, overbuild at the beginning. It's easy to just expand it later. But also buildings in this, if you make it too big, then they will collapse, and they'll tell you like, hey, the roof will collapse. You have to make it smaller, basically. So you got to be careful, or have better technology or pillars or things like that to make it workable. There we go. This is looking good. They're going to finish this in no time. So we still have a good amount of odd jobbers. I'm going to click on this, and somebody else wants to come in, so I'll just double click to let the other Crotonian immigrant in. And now we are building a furniture shop, which is good. We have plenty of stone and wood, so we don't need to clear anything or do any jobs like that. We actually have a janitor, so we're good there. And a woodcutter is decent, but we don't really need that right now. We want a bakery. Now, but we don't have a grain field going. I did not give a crate to fruit, and I'm full anyway. So even if we would have collected those, the fruit that I foraged, we wouldn't have put it anywhere, and it would be rotting on the field because I don't have a place in my warehouse for it. So this was an interesting time to show you something. Let's say I want to expand my warehouse. Now, upgrading it is a great way to do that, but let's just say I want more crates. You can do that, but it comes at a price of kind of shutting it down for a moment. So right here, you can see the workload's like super low. But what if I say, hey, you know what? I want to fix this. So you click the house button that says refurnish room, and I'm going to click it. And then now, I'm working on this room, and you have some options of what you can do. I'm going to add crates. I'm just going to click on the crate, and I'm going to just drop in some more crates. Now, I could also, do you want to refurnish this room? And you say yes. From here, you can actually, what you have to do this to actually be able to refurnish it. And I'm going to go to crates, and let's see. I can build these crates wherever I want. And I'm going to go back into this. Let's see. Now, some things that you can do from this screen is you can actually make the room bigger. So you can say, expand room and, make it larger, or you can do our common thing where you just build here and just build out if you want to do that. But all I want to do right now, you can even, by building construction, you could change the material it's made out of. But I'm just going to go ahead and go to crates, and we're going to add some. And I'm going to just put some crates right here and some crates. I'm going to rotate this back around, and we'll just make this a little bit smaller. And it says, no, you can't do that. Doesn't like this at all. So in that case, we will put this here and this here. And then I'm going to just say check. And it says room will be blocked. Place the doorway so that the room can be entered from the outside. And so this is going to block this door, is what it's telling me. So I'm going to right click, right click, right click, and I'm going to rotate this and leave it right here so it won't block the door. There. And then I'm going to unpause it, and you will see that now they're going to come in and they will fix this up and finish it. Great. Okay, so we've expanded our warehouse. We're building a carpenter, so we built a second house. We've got a food stall going, and we've allowed some immigrants to come in and also built roads. Everyone, I hope you're still finding this series to be useful and fun. We've got a lot more stuff to do to even just build the basic structures and grow our settlement, but we're getting there. I'll check you in the next one. Take care.